welcome back to my channel. My name is Omalivi and thank you for watching. If you are a new subscriber, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And if you're an old subscriber, thank you for watching. So with me today, I have a wonderful guest with me, Alexander. He's going to be sharing his experiences with us as an immigrant in Canada. How are you, Alex?
Good, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, I'm immigrant in Canada. I arrived in 2015. I have legal background. I was a lawyer and a public notary for 20 years in my country of origin, Bulgaria. My wife is Canadian and she lived in Bulgaria for 20 years. She lived in Bulgaria more than she lived in Canada. And when we decided to move to Canada, for her it was a second returning home. So we arrived in July 2015 with our two kids. They are big now, they're 17 and 19.
Yeah.
And we started our new life here. We know Canada is a country of immigrants, but it's really a very complex process.
Sure.
So once you arrive here, you have a new world. You have completely different world. You have to adjust to new rules, new language, new culture. And now, 6 years later, I can talk a lot about my experience here as a former lawyer, as a former worker here, as former administrative assistant. I worked different jobs before I landed my current job, permanent job, in the working center of Kitchener. This is not-for-profit community organizations which is promoting social inclusion, help for low-income population, marginalized people, people with addictions. They're helping to people who experience homelessness.
Wow.
This is really amazing organization.
Jeez.
I feel honored to work for them more than a year already. I think it's very important to be well prepared
Yeah.
before immigration in Canada, to know what to expect. This is
Tell
very
us about
important. We know that Canada has strict requirements for the foreign trained professionals in order to practice their jobs in Canada. Of course, this is based on the high professional ethics requirement, and this is why the professionals here provide so good services. So there are many immigrants from different countries which worked as lawyers, teachers, engineers, doctors, and when they come here, naturally they want to go back in their professional fields, which is not easy,
Of course.
which is a big challenge for many reasons. For me, I learned two very important things which are really fundamental for settlement in Canada. I can say the society here is based on two pillars: volunteering and networking.
Yeah.
These are the main points which can help, they can contribute to the immigrants when they settle in the new country, and they can be the key for their success. I waited almost a year for my permanent residence, and my wife was working in Toronto for 3 years. She was commuting, I took care of the children, and I didn't have right to work, so I did a lot of targeted volunteering. So I chose different organizations which had law-related work. I volunteered for one shelter for people who had been homeless. I volunteered for John Howard Society, which is really a very good organization which is helping young offenders.
Yeah.
I volunteered for the Working Center, for the Multicultural Center. It was more than a year, and it gave me a lot of understanding for the community, for the needs of the community, for the existing services and capacity. And it was question of time for me to find the right place, the right niche.
Yeah, yeah. So how was the experience like being a lawyer and a notary back in Bulgaria and then coming to Canada to study paralegal, right? And
Law clerk.
Starting, law clerk.
Law
and
clerk,
then
yeah.
starting from the grassroots. How was this transition? How did you, manage this?
I came well prepared. I knew what to expect here. I knew for the differences in the legal industry in Bulgaria and in Canada. And I quickly recognized the importance of the personal relationships with the Canadian like-minded legal professionals. This is the fundamental. I also learned about the needs of the community here. This is very good community, the community of Kitchener-Waterloo, very diverse, very inclusive, with huge prospects for growth. I think it's one of the best communities in the world. This is why it attracts so many immigrants from different countries.
Yeah.
And it's very important for the immigrants to be proactive, to find the right people, the right direction, and to be persistent, not to give up, and to make realistic assessment of the pursuit of their work, what they want to do. Of course, they should know the needs of the community and also to know their capacity, what they're able to do and how they can contribute. Due to the strict professional regulations, it's not realistic to expect that a foreign trained professional would start some senior job in Canada. This is not realistic. And this is good to remember because when you are realistic, you can start something which is entry level, but it can give you exposure to the work in the country.
Sure.
I like the resilience of the immigrants here, and this is why Canada is so successful country, because it's based, it's built up by motivated, resilient, persistent, strong immigrants.
Sure. So how was it for your children to transition? How was it for them to adjust from living in Bulgaria, or were they born in Canada or in Bulgaria?
In Bulgaria.
In Bulgaria.
In Bulgaria.
So how was it for them when they first came into Canada? And for you as a father, how was it for you and your children coming to Canada? Your first experience, what was it like?
So they adjusted very well. They have many friends, so both of them are studying and working. Even they're working today and tomorrow. And my daughter is student in Laurier University. My son is grade 12. And they have really the social skills and the social background to adjust really quickly in the local environment.
Yeah.
And they have their professional plans. So, of course, we will support them.
Of course.
And we learned a lot with them. I am very, I can say, lucky to have really amazing Canadian family of my wife's side. She has a remarkable family. There are 5 siblings. They are wonderful people living here since 1967. And they are very supportive, which gives me a lot of confidence to talk to new immigrants, to encourage them to explore the community, to learn about the existing resources, to make their connections, and to be sure that there are many people who want to help them. The question is to find them and to outreach to them.
True. Can you share with us your experience with, when it comes to, you married a Canadian, right? What are some things that you've come to see as the struggles that marriages go through in Canada?
Immigration as a process,
marriages.
it's something very complex. It can be challenging, especially in times of transition, because when people are moving to another country, there are a lot of issues which have to be resolved with housing, with the children, with schools, with address registration, with finding jobs. So it's very important that spouses support each other, help each other, to be always helpful,
Right.
tolerant, and to have patience. So I think this community has very good resources for helping families. Of course, due to the multicultural environment, there are different issues related to the cultural adjustment. Immigrants who are coming from different countries sometimes have different rules, different patterns from their cultures, and sometimes they are not the same like the Canadian culture.
True.
So there are very good resources here. Many of them are founded by immigrants which had the same path, they had the same journey,
Yeah.
and they want to help the new
Other
immigrants.
people going through
Yeah.
that.
And all these communities, they are keeping their national identity, and also they adjust to the local community, the local Canadian environment, which is really great. I think part of my ideas for the community justice help is just to help these people from different backgrounds
Yeah.
which are coming in Canada, and they need a lot of information, encouragement, help, including help related to the law, to the legal information.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, definitely marriages can be under pressure, under stress, and this is why it's very important to find the suitable support, which is not difficult to find here. There are many groups, many organizations which are willing
Yeah.
to help them, and people can have a lot of help.
There was something you mentioned earlier. You said that for every immigrant that comes to Canada, that there are two pillars that you always suggest that is very, very beneficial and rewarding to every immigrant. And you mentioned networking and volunteering. As an immigrant, from your personal experience, so how effective will you say this pillar is when it comes to supporting and helping an immigrant to survive in Canada? How effective will you say networking and volunteering, is
So
to immigrants?
these are fundamental pillars of the Canadian society, I can say.
Yeah.
So volunteering has very old traditions, and many of the Canadians, they're participating in volunteering activities. Even seniors, they're happy to help other people, and this is part of the local Canadian culture, the local Canadian environment. For newcomers, it's very important to be aware of the aspects of the volunteering, to know what to expect, and to be realistic, also to have a fair discussion with the community, and to spend volunteer hours and to have clear understanding in what direction they can go. Many of the organizations, they can provide jobs in the near future for the volunteers, but not always.
Sure.
So it's very important to know, and very important to have honest relationships with the stakeholders of the organization. Of course, sometimes volunteering can be done just for fun, just for helping the community.
From what I've noticed, personally from my experience, it's been hard to get volunteering jobs in Canada. So what are some tips that you give someone, especially an immigrant who is trying to volunteer for a company or an organization? What are some tips towards finding an organization to work with?
The most important thing is to make very good research of the organization in advance, to know what is the plan, to have very clear plan. Whether they want just volunteering, to spend some time with volunteering, gaining volunteer experience, or to have volunteer experience and to get a job opportunity,
Okay.
which is very tricky moment because sometimes with the process of volunteering, the organizations are knowing better the person. They know better their skills, his qualities. So it's much easier for them to assess and to decide if there's an opening,
Yeah.
whether they can often offer him a job. If volunteering can match with the professional interest, professional pursuit,
Yeah.
then initial research is even more important.
Yes.
It depends on the industry. Some industries are more conservative, some of them are more open. For example, my industry, the legal industry, I can say is one of the most difficult industries for many reasons. Unfortunately, the foreign experience is not recognized here. We know that diplomas are not recognized,
Yeah.
but also the professional experience is not recognized. So the skills which you have gained from Europe,
Yeah.
they can be easily adjusted for the local legal employers, but it not always works. It's the same with different industries.
Yeah.
My feedback is that with the IT industry, it's much easier, and I see really a lot of young immigrants which are very successful. It's also very important to make a record of the whole networking process,
Yeah.
and to record the contacts, the content of the meetings, to know what was the result.
And the people you spoke to.
Yeah, many of them want to help. Of course, there are many of them which are naturally interested with making initial contact with immigrants,
Yeah.
but nothing else.
Yeah.
And some of them are interested and they want to help with job search. So there are different types of contact. The networking is really vast resource, very rich resource. It takes time, but it can be very inspiring, rewarding, and it gives the chance to make assessment of the potential in every contact. And it's lifelong process. The networking
Yeah.
can take a lot of time.
How important is community to an immigrant in Canada?
It's very important because immigration is very complex. It's a huge process which takes a lot of time, and it includes settlement, housing, job search, and it's not possible to be done without knowing very well the community, the neighbors, the available resources, and making the friendships is very important in different levels. Using different membership in different clubs, sport clubs near the schools, neighborhood associations, religious organizations. Everything is very important. It can give really a lot of chances to newcomers. And also trying to think out of the box, not in traditional way, just being aware of what are the needs of the community, what you had in the future, what were your transferable skills, and how you can transfer them, how you can help to the local people for their problems.
Thank you so much for sharing
You're very welcome.
that with us. So finally, what advice would you give to an immigrant newcomer in Canada who is obviously watching this now and wondering, wow, so how am I going to be able to get a good job or to grow in my career as an immigrant? Is that possible? What advice would you give such an immigrant?
To follow their dreams, to be realistic, to be active, to be always aware of the needs of the community, and to be persistent and resilient, and to think and to remember that after one bad day always comes much better day.
Yeah. That's so good. That is amazing.
And to wait the right moment.
Right? Don't be in a hurry.
Yeah.
Don't rush. Canada will teach you baby steps.
Yeah.
You need to embrace process. That's good. Thank you so much, Alex, for coming. And
Thank you for having me here.
I'm so glad you made it, honestly. And thank you again for sharing your wonderful story and experience with us and sharing these tips. They are really important to us. I'm also an immigrant. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode and you learned a thing or two. If you have any suggestion or something you'd like to add, please drop it on the comment section and we can chat about it. And don't forget to support us by liking, subscribe, and comment on my videos. And please share the videos as well. Thank you for watching this episode. Once again, it's me, Oma Louie, and bye for now.